religion with that because of okay, so obviously everyone has a different opinion depending on their religion,
Mm.
but I'm pretty sure Muslims believe that because of God, you have morals. And so
Mm.
they recognize the God who they believe instilled those morals within them, and they they follow that. Because here's the thing, just because we have morals inherently doesn't mean we follow them all the time. We're a fallen humanity, and then I don't know what other religions think about that, but for Christianity at least, humanity knows these morals, and we choose to go our own way because we always think our way is better, and it never ever is.
So
And
I
yeah,
want to
go
I
ahead.
want to also add to this. So why should you follow religion if you're born with your own morals, right? That's a very good question. It's very very good. It's somewhat somebody might see that as a contradiction or like a flaw in the thought of following any school of thought of religion. So the thing is, you're born knowing very very bare bones basic morals. Murder
Mm.
bad. Punch somebody no good. That's all you know. Very like very
Damn,
low
well, I
low
wouldn't
low
do
level
that.
things. But for the true morality, you aren't born knowing all of the rest of morality. Like for an example, like the part of like kissing a girl before marriage, or of or like swearing for an example, or just doing all these sins that
Okay,
are inside of
okay.
like religion for an example. So you're born with a bare bones basic level of knowledge, but to get the full message, and also you also are born knowing that there is a god, a higher power. This is a study by Oxford University. It was like a $2 million study, by like with like I think it was like 59 scientists under over 20 countries, and they proved that people are born with the predisposition that human beings are born knowing that there is a higher power, that there is a God. So you're also born with that. So I could ask you, why do you reject the God if you're born knowing that God exists? So
I
if
want.
go ahead,
I
yeah,
guess that might be that like rational versus
empirical.
that yeah, empirical. Because you can't see it, you can't feel it, none of the five senses come into play, so why would we?
Hmm. Yeah. So like for an example, if you go to sleep at night and you put your water bottle on your nightstand, then you wake up, then your bottle's on the floor. You empirically can't prove that this bottle fell down or someone must have came in and dropped it over there. So why would you assume to believe that this bottle had fallen if you can't measure it? Like the
Previous knowledge.
previous knowledge, but you still can't prove. You still can't prove how that bottle got there.
Do you experience knowledge with your senses? There are different kinds of knowledge, like this thing called techni, which is like technique. You ever do something without thinking every single step of the way? When you look in the mirror and you see your hair's a mess and you just like comb it just the right way,
Muscle
you don't
memory.
have to experience every single sensation of every like breaking it down empirically. Uh, means you have to follow through consistently and break down to every single possible thought of what's going on. Otherwise, nothing can happen. And if morality isn't objective, then nothing is wrong inherently.
Yeah, because it's
And just because
subjective,
there
and
are
yeah,
right, right, and just because
I
there are
think the
cultures,
ultimate. Go ahead.
just because there are cultures that do show different kinds of moralities, like people used to play sports with other people's heads right after sacrificing them, right? We say that was a wrong and corrupt thing to do. Just because people break the morality or go against the morality doesn't mean that it's
Yeah,
not there in
and
the
also
first place.
there's studies disproving that it was like a good thing, like with the Aztecs and stuff. Like I'm Mexican and I studied that, so it what they didn't see it as a good thing, like inherently, like oh, killing them as a price. It wasn't seen as a price. It was more like a sacrifice thing. But also, I wanted to add, like I think the ultimate like checkmate argument that you can make to what's the opposite of absolute morality again? The relative morality. Um, People claim that there's no absolute truth, but that phrase in it of itself,
Mm-hmm.
if there's no absolute truth, then that means that phrase can't be true. So it's a paradox. So nothing is true, if that makes sense.
mm-hmm.
Like, so if there's no absolute truths, then you saying that there's no absolute truth then also can't be true. So there has to be truth. There has to be an absolute um morality or truth.
Yeah. I mean, about the one talking about empirical evidence we were just talking about previously, there are things that we know that we don't empirically have to prove every time just to believe it. We can rationally come to this certain conclusion that this is legitimate. Like, even for an example, let's say your doctor gives you back your like test results and says, yeah, everything is good to go. You should be all set here, right? And or like let's say your like doctor calls you on the phone and says, yeah, I got your test results. Everything looks a-okay. You are good to go. So empirically, you would say, no, doc, sorry, I have to come in and check the test results, or else I don't believe you. And let's say you do come in and check the paper of the test results from the lab. You didn't empirically go and see the actual results of your blood test and go do the actual test result by yourself with your five senses. So therefore, empirically, you can't prove that you are okay. But you have to rationally trust that this doctor went to school for 10 plus years, has seen 10 plus thousand patients, and this laboratory is legitimate for them to give you this legitimate test result. So if you have to prove everything empirically, I really feel like it's a school of thought that's extremely limiting, because
That's
you
where
think
faith comes in, right?
Where did this
that's where
whole
rationalism comes in.
where did this whole imperial or empiric thinking come from?
Probably like some
I mean
postmodernism.
the like biggest was like I think it was like John Locke. That it's like a deep. There's a bunch of like philosophers that are like empiricists. Like they taught about this in school.
All right.
John Locke. I'm pretty
funny
sure Immanuel Kant. I'm pretty sure I have to look more into it. I'm not. I don't know. But
It's also very, very easy to become a sociopath if you are 100% empirical about everything. Because let's take it to humanity, right? If I only believe what I can personally experience with my senses, then I cannot experience your consciousness with my senses. So
ooh,
according to me, only I am a conscious living being.
oh
Everything else is
fuck.
just clumps of matter. So that means that there's nothing morally or inherently wrong with me going on a killing spree because I'm the only thing conscious according to me. Everything else is just
Right.
clumps of
That's
Yeah,
lifeless
very
matter.
interesting.
empirically you can't prove that yeah what Jay said, that anybody else is actually conscious. You can't even prove that yourself is even conscious, because the only thing that you can prove is that you have a brain, and that's it. There's no such thing as a
Yeah, isn't
human
that scholarship?
consciousness. So the failing argument goes here. Let's say all you are is your brain. There's no such thing as consciousness or spirit or soul, and all that stuff is BS. It's just a brain, right? With that being
Right?
said, I'm pretty sure it's like every 20 years, every single cell in your body replaces itself, right? So there's a certain amount of time that your body undergoes. Every single cell is replaced with a brand new cell. So let's say, for an example, we had a house. We took apart every single piece of wood, every single piece of chip in this house, and rebuilt the whole house. Is it still the same house?
Yes and
Right.
no.
It's that one dilemma, right?
Jason, if every single part of the house is changed, every single piece is not the same as it was. We took out the old and put in new, from A to
Yeah.
Z, 100%. Is it still the same exact? Is it still the same house?
So I believe in this thing called
It's the same with your.
So it's not the same house no more, right?
Yeah, it's not the same house
Okay,
because
so
it's
Why
not
with
the
not?
that
same.
with that being said, if
empirical.
every 20 years the human body replaces every single cell, then I am no longer iamLucid. I'm not Alex no more. Matter of fact, give me a
No,
brand new
you are.
passport, and if I did something wrong 20 years ago, like I did something that can give me life in prison, take me out of prison, because that's not me no more.
No,
So
because you look the same, and your passport is your verification how you look and who you are. So it doesn't matter that your cells were replaced because you're still the same person you.
then
You
Nothing
still
if I
have the
had
changed.
same
a
conscience.
twin brother, then have him serve life for me, because me and him look identical.
No, yeah,
Look,
I think
I
he's
have a
missing the
question.
point. I think that's like evidence for like a soul, because there has to be something
That
like
makes you
a
you.
single
Yeah.
thing that makes exactly
We're
like
not just
that's evidence
ourselves,
for it.
because if we were, then they'd be replaced and we would no longer be us every 20 years. We'd be a different
Alright, look,
person. Even though we look the same, we can have a identical
Right,
twin. Is that person
there's this.
right,
identical to us? No, they have different personalities, they talk different, they like different things, different sports, music, all the above.
right,
Alright, look,
right.
I have
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
question.
true.
So
If say a forest fire